Hello, this is old Mr. Kent of MrKent.com, and the inset in the upper right-hand corner is day one when my son took on the job of finishing the steel building, which the other crew walked out on. So he's doing it for a friend a couple miles from our house. And so he's taking out those, he's cutting the sheet metal to make it fit where it goes, and putting the walls on. In the previous video, he was putting in windows, and he's got those all in. In this video, I stayed around all day and was able to make several clips, so it's going to be a little longer video, but that's all right because I want to tell you a story. If you've been following my life story, in the last video I started working at Walmart, and you never know where God's going to put you when you're when you're living for Him. And so anyway, I quit my job at Microsoft and went to work for Walmart, and so I got lots of stories, but this one is probably my favorite and probably the reason why I ended up at Walmart. I was in the hardware department, and my boss had to have both knees replaced, and so when he was gone for each knee, he was gone for 6 weeks, and I was able to, or they asked me to be the manager of the department, so I did, which meant I got to go in at 7 and get off at 4 every day. So anyway, first thing I did was I got in, and there was the overnight stocker that put stuff on the shelves for our department was there, and I met him. His name was Dwayne, but he had a terrible, terrible language. I mean, and eventually he quit swearing and everything because he told me that he knew I didn't like it. So so we became friends. He knew I liked computers, and he was having trouble with his computer. He sold unopened action toys on eBay, and he was having trouble. So I went over and I helped him with that. And actually, I had to do a lot of work to help him with that and restore the computer and get rid of all the viruses that his son had put on it, I'm sure, because, well, I don't know if it was his son or him. But anyway, so I spent several hours, and then I went back several times to help him with his computer. And so he had also a big collection of models of World War II aircraft. And in fact, he had a lot of pictures of, and he was so proud of a book that he showed me where they acknowledged him because he had let them use his pictures of World War II fighters and bombers and things like that. So he was, that was his favorite thing, was aircraft. And so as time went by, one day he had trouble with an outlet behind the couch in his living room. Something wasn't working, so I went over there and we pulled the couch out, and so I was working on it. And while he was sitting there, he says, "How do you know whether or not you're going to go to heaven when you die?" Well, for a guy like me, that's when you stop doing everything and do your best to explain to him so that he'll understand, which is what I did. And Dwayne was real receptive, and he listened to everything I said, and he didn't do anything that particular day, but he knew what he needed to do. And so I finished work on his outlet and got them all taken care of. And then I still came back once in a while to work on his computers and stuff. But one day he told me, he said that he had actually trusted Jesus as his Savior on his own after having talked to me. So that was really, really good news. And as time went by the way, you'll notice how my son just makes everything fit accurate. He has to pre-measure, and pre-cut all those pieces so that they fit the first time, because there were no extra pieces. So anyway, so Dwayne and I became good friends, and it wasn't long until, by the way, you see that arrow there? He cut that piece out, measured it just right for the window, and then there's a piece that he cut out of both sides, and that was a tough one because he had to not only match the curvature of the roof, but he also had to put the window slots or window cutouts exactly where they had to go. I'm super proud of my son, I'll tell you. So anyway, I had told Dwayne that sometime, because I had my airplane back then, I said, and we were in Washington State, in Pasco, Washington, Eastern Washington, and I had told him that I would take him over to Seattle to the Museum of Flight at the old Boeing field over there, but we never did get around to it, and because I knew he loved aircraft. So anyway. Then, as time went by, he told me, he said, they found out that I have cancer. And so, I kind of felt bad about that because he was such a nice guy. I really liked him. And so I thought, well, we better see if we can get him over there to the Museum of Flight, because he, as it turns out, he didn't have a lot of time left to live. And so so we took off one Saturday, and we flew up. Well, we fly over the Cascade Mountains, and there's a little airstrip at the top of the mountains, near the top, where it's like an emergency airstrip, and didn't used to be, but it was closed down, but you could always land there. And I had landed there several times. So we flew over, got over to the western side of the mountains, and it was all covered with clouds. I couldn't get through. So I came back and we landed there at that little field and waited all day, and it never did clear up, so we went back home. So we never got him over to see the Museum of Flight that day, and as it turned out, we never did get him over there because his cancer kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so I got to tell you about my son, though. He makes everything, he double measures everything, makes sure he's got it all right, and it's just kind of fun to watch him. That's why I hung around the whole day. So anyway, eventually Dwayne kept getting more and more sick, and so he wasn't working at Walmart anymore. And so he ended up in the hospital with his cancer, and I would go see him a couple times a week just to visit with him and see how he was doing. And actually, it wasn't a couple times; it was about once a week, maybe a little more than that. But I went to see him, and I got over there one evening to go see him, and they said he had passed away. So there's my son's '69 Chevy pickup that he restored. Anyway, so, it's like I said, you never know where God's going to put you if you love the Lord. And so I went to Walmart. I met Dwayne. Dwayne and I became good friends. Dwayne understood about Jesus. He trusted Jesus as his Savior. And so right now, while I'm recording this, I'm trusting that he's in heaven. And so, anyway, and I encourage you to, if you have any questions, you can always comment in the comments. But we have a wonderful God and a wonderful Savior, and he loves you, and he loves me, and he loved Dwayne. And like I say, that's my favorite story about Walmart. But I've got a few more, so stay tuned. And we'll watch my son. As he was putting up that piece, he got it all up, and then he found out that the piece previous to that didn't go on right. So then he ended up he didn't take them down, he just unscrewed them and relocated that first piece so that the second piece would turn on. You notice also he's got the French door framed in, and he wanted to get all the walls up before the evening because there was a chance of a thunderstorm, and he didn't want anything blowing down or falling, blowing away. So he wanted to get all the walls up, which he did. And I just hung around until he didn't need my help. Actually, didn't need my help much at all. Every once in a while, he'd ask me to stand on something to keep it from moving while he was cutting it and so forth. But anyway, I'm super proud of him. I thank you for listening to my story, watching my videos. And here's another picture of the building on the first day when he went out there to start working on it. So in 4 days' time, you can see there's a great difference, and I'm super proud of him. All he's got left to do now is the roof. So I want to thank you for watching my videos, and God bless.